going to die. I have a co-host friend here today, Dr. Sheila Pack, and I'm Melissa Moritz. And today, it's very, very timely, being that summer, well, it's spring/summer, and they all blend. I mean, it gets hot out, the sun is strong, the pools are open, and we're talking about, can you die from sunscreen? So, we're going to go through myths, and Dr. Pack is going to dispel all of my crazy myths with the facts. And then, of course, she has props. She always brings her props with her. Yes. So she'll talk about what she brought with her. So, first myth is, if it's a cloudy day, I don't need to use my sunscreen.
Wrong.
Wrong.
And I have a personal testament to this. Just because it's cloudy outside, the sun's UV rays are still coming through, and most people think that they're okay, and that's when we tend to see the highest rate of sunburn, myself included. Spent the day out on the beach, never reapplied the sunscreen, had one of the worst sunburns of my life.
Ooh.
So,
yes. Did you just forget? Oh, you just didn't use sunscreen because it was cloudy?
It was my first day in the Caribbean, and I thought, it's raining, but I really want that tan. So, but yes, I ended up just, like a lobster.
Oh, no. On your, ears and your feet are the worst, I think.
My gosh, yes. So, yes, actually, that's one of my little props I brought, and I had to use the aloe.
Oh.
Dun, 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 dun.
Does aloe
That's
work?
never a good sign.
Does aloe work?
You know what? It does. What it did, when I use it, I noticed that all of a sudden it just kind of pulls the heat out.
Huh.
But then literally I have to put it on again in 5 minutes to keep that effect. So, anyway.
Interesting. Okay. I like using the aloe plant and actually breaking off a piece of the plant and applying it to your sunburn.
I can never keep a plant alive long enough to really benefit from that.
Aloe is a pretty hardy one. You might be able to do that.
Maybe.
Okay. So how about this one? So let's switch to, if you're in the water, you can't get sunburned.
Yes, you can. Once again, actually, you can get a pretty nasty sunburn in the water simply because of the reflection of the sunlight off of the water. And two, think about it, when you're in the water, there's something exposed, and whether it's your arms or your shoulders, your face, and sunscreen is not waterproof. It's water resistant in some ways. So you're in the water, and there you go. You can really get a nasty sunburn.
You should use a shot glass full of sunscreen to slather all over your body for maximum protection.
Yes,
that's what the American Academy of Dermatology says.
Yes.
So clean out your shot glasses and put them to good use for your sunscreen. How about that? When you're purchasing sunscreens, here's where I always get caught off guard, is this SPF number, and the fact that if it has a higher SPF number, it surely lasts longer, right?
That's what they say, but it's kind of like hearing protection. You think you've doubled the number, you have doubled the protection. That's not really the case. So what the Academy of Dermatology recommends is that you use a broad spectrum sunscreen with at least 30 SPF. Anything above 30 is, so if you double it and you go with a 60 SPF, you're really not getting double the protection. But what it does do is it causes people to be confused and think, well, if I'm going to put 60 on, I can stay out there twice as long. So.
Wow. Yes. So use your sunscreen. A lot of people think, well, if you're a female or you wear makeup, you think that makeup is enough for your face, so you don't need anything more than that.
Well, I happen to have brought my makeup, and
love it.
So my makeup has broad spectrum SPF 15.
Okay.
So as we know, 15 not enough, and women of my age, this is very important for us to protect the skin at this point. So what I do and what they recommend that you do is my moisturizer is a 30 SPF, broad spectrum. Then just kind of the makeup is just it's not really a double protection, but I've got myself covered here.
Very good. So broad spectrum. I have no idea what that is. Talk about that for us laymen's out there.
Well, I mean, broad spectrum it's just kind of, and I'm not going to ever pretend to be an expert on broad spectrum. What I'm going off of is what I know from my dermatologist who talked to me about the effects of broad spectrum. But basically, that's blocking a variety of different types of the sun rays. So it used to be that your old sunscreen would pretty much just target one type of like UV light and so forth, and now they're trying to get more of a broad
Got it.
assortment. So
Makes sense.
yes.
Because there's UVA and there's UVB.
Yes, and this will cover both versus just honing in on one.
But then what you want to pay attention to are the ingredients in your sunscreen.
Yes. And
Do you
so-
know much about that for us? Because there's minerals and then there's chemicals. And there's all sorts of debates over which is the best sunscreen to be using.
Well, what I thought, I read this, and I thought this was a really interesting analogy. So when you look at chemical and then the mineral, we also call it physical. So you have a chemical sunscreen, you have a physical sunscreen. And so your chemical is a sponge. Like, think of it as a sponge. It is soaking up the sun's rays. All right, so your physical is like a shield.
Got
and
it.
it's a barrier. So that zinc that we used to all put on our nose,
Yep.
that's a physical or mineral type of sunscreen. And then what we rub in our skin that does not leave that white residue is more of a chemical.
Do you think it matters if you rub it in or just kind of apply it? You know, you see people kind of going overboard and they're totally white and you can see that it's all sunscreen.
Yes. You know, I don't really know about that. I tend to.
Oh, the sprays.
I'm a spray
Okay,
person.
now I've heard that sprays are bad.
Yes, yes. Sprays, they do not recommend you to use
Right.
it on children. My biggest issue with spray and what I've always been kind of paranoid about is this smell. I mean, it is such a strong fume when you spray it that I spray and run. And
I want to see Sheila apply her sunscreen.
and I think one of my biggest pet peeves are these people by the pool or on the beach, and they stand there spraying, and I'm in the downwind. And
That's
I'm
not
like,
cool.
No, that's not. So I practice good pool etiquette with my
Good
spray.
sunscreen application spray
Yes,
etiquette.
yes.
Don't use the sprays. That's what
No,
I've
but
heard.
the spray, they said yes. The fumes can be very dangerous, and also you don't have a lot of consistency with it, so you can't see where you missed.
Right.
So,
Right.
but-
So people with dark skin do not need sunscreen. What do you think about that
yes,
statement?
they do. So they most definitely do.
Still do. I think
can
it
still burn.
do damage,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Definitely.
How about I'm gonna go outside, so I'll look like I'm dressed for winter instead of applying sunscreen. So sunscreen works better than covering up, or vice versa.
Actually, your safest option is to cover up, pretty much, is what they're saying. Anything that's not exposed, and we all see these people walking around, it's 90 degrees outside,
Yes.
and they're in their long white shirts and, hat and so forth, and so they are, most of the time, I mean, they're most probably much smarter about it than most of us, but covering up, but you have to still be careful. You can't just wear a thin little white gauzy shirt and expect.
Well, there's that new technology of fabric where it blocks the UV, and I don't know much
You know
about
what?
how
I've
that
heard
works.
of that. I don't know, but I have heard of that as well, which would be great for those people that are children, especially, because they recommend that you have to, they say you have to be so careful with sunscreen in children, especially infants. So if you could I remember when my son was little, I mean, I would lather him up like a little turkey ball, like a little butter ball, just kind of.
So would you say all sunscreen is the same? It's created equal, so to speak?
No.
No.
That is definitely a myth.
Okay,
So,
what do you have?
I have, okay. So basically what I did bring is I brought different sunscreens, and I was looking at the ingredients when I knew that I was going to do this. And this sunscreen is 30 broad spectrum SPF, UVA, UVB protection. Boom.
And that one smells good.
Yes, it does. And so, but this would
like
be
a pina
your
colada.
this would be your chemical sunscreen. And then I have, of course, my spray, which is 30. And
Water, is that water resistant?
water resistant.
Proof?
It does not. It says water resistant. Nothing is waterproof.
Right.
So, and then I have the one for my face, which is broad spectrum SPF 55. Now, this is what, and I'll refer back to it, my dermatologist, I have rosacea, so I have to be very careful about being out in the sun. And so this is what they told me to go for, and he told me 30 and higher.
Got it.
Didn't matter that it was 55, it just happened to come that way. One interesting thing I'll point out, and that's why I brought this, is when I pulled it out of my cabinet this morning, the expiration, it expired 2 years ago.
Uh-oh.
So it will be going in the trash. But all sunscreens have to have an expiration date on
Right.
them. And so
Very good point.
I never knew that until like a year ago. I mean, I would keep it for years until it you know, curdled up. But so, and then I even have, I mean, you know, I have to protect my hair too. So even our hair products have.
Oh, well, we invited
UV
the right
protectant.
person for this segment today.
I have sunscreen in my hair product because, I mean, I pay a lot for this. I have to protect it.
No, well, all joking aside, you do have to protect your scalp because your scalp can burn, and if you're not wearing a hat, oh, well, ta-da!
Yes.
No, is that UV protected? Like, is it shield enough that the rays will bounce off of it, or can they sneak through?
That I
like
don't
the
know.
cloud?
I've never really burnt my scalp, so it must be doing something.
That doesn't expire. I don't know. Maybe
No.
just fashion-wise. So wait, show us your hair product again.
Okay.
This is a very good segment.
So
for
my hair
everybody.
product, it protects against UV, heat, and UV. And so, you know, it just,
I'm going to need to get...
because when you get in the pool.
Is that your normal treatment, or is that special for the sun?
I use it in the summer just because when I get out in the sun, my hair fades very, very quickly, and then
Wow, that is so cool.
doesn't look good. So I put this on every time I wash my hair.
Right.
And it just,
I might have to look for something like that. My daughter is a ginger, very, very pale and fair skinned. So I actually just take regular sunscreen and apply it to her, like the part on her scalp, and then I spray the rest of her hair down with the spray screen. Sunscreen.
Okay. All right.
Anyway, because you can get burned up there, and then
You can. But, you know, when you do that as an adult, you look like,
I know.
you know.
Wear a hat instead, I guess.
But also, people don't realize your lipsticks have SPF. So, because your lips, I mean, I have burnt my lips before. I have burnt, when I was younger, I grew up in the day where we would put baby oil or the oil sun lotion on our body, lay out on a silver blanket with a fan blowing on us, and spray peroxide in your hair. And that was what we did. And so I have literally, there's not much I haven't burnt. But now that I'm much wiser.
Times have changed.
Yes, I don't do that anymore.
lot.
And then did you know you can also burn your
Yes, I did know that.
Yes.
Yes.
So we have to wear, so those are my props.
Really, you really should wear the sunglasses, but they have a certain tint to them.
Yes,
Right.
yes. So, and that's,
You can get, I believe it's the sun can cause cataracts.
it can't, that's what I've heard. Now,
That's what I've heard.
But
an eye doctor.
all I know is I remember there was a famous actor, I think, or something, that had this happen to them. And so it was a real
So a hat, you'll look like you're going undercover. I mean,
Exactly.
hat, sunscreen, sunglasses, long sleeve shirt, and you'll be fine with the sun.
Right.
Or sunscreen products. So, well, do you have any other tidbits before we wrap it up? Okay. Oh, ultimately, all right. Are you going to dye sunscreen?
You know what? I think that depending on how you look at it, if you use expired sunscreen, if you use the wrong SPF, you get a false sense of security. Could set you up for a really nasty sunburn, which, as we know, can also lead to an increased risk of skin cancer. And so, really, yes, you could die from effects of sunscreen. And what they say though is, you know, everybody's concerned about all these chemicals in it, but what they say is the risk of not wearing sunscreen far outweigh the risk of wearing it.
Right. So, yes, folks, you can die from sunscreen or the effects thereof. You know, it's a love-hate relationship with the sun.
Yes, I know.
Love the sun, need vitamin D to keep us all happy people on this planet Earth. But side effects are it really can cause damage to our skin. So we hope you have enjoyed this segment of Am I Going to Die? Thank you so much for being here today. And as always, bringing your props with you. And if you have any suggestions or have any questions for us, Dr. Pack is our director of audiology, but she stepped in here today to have some fun to divert some of the facts and myths of sunscreen. But she can always help you with your hearing-related, hearing health questions. We're in May, and it's the Better Hearing and Speech Month. So shoot Dr. Pack questions if you have any. We're here for you. Or if you have suggestions on what we can help cover in an Am I Going to Die segment, or if you want to be on one, and you want to call in and ask us a question, let us know and we can arrange that. It was great having you here today. Thank you for joining here, and stay safe this summer and do use sunscreen.